Hey guys, this is my first video, so bear with me. I have with me today an HP ProBook 455 G3. Now I think I bought this HP ProBook back in maybe 2016 or 2017, and it has just been incredibly slow. The startup is slow, trying to run any programs is slow. So what I'm going to do today is a SSD upgrade. Right now it just has your standard HDD Spinny Boy in it, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can upgrade that to an SSD. So this is how the computer operates right now. We're going to do the startup with the HDD drive in it first, and I'm gonna include this part. I don't know, maybe I'll put some music over it or something because it takes freaking forever. And then we're gonna see the difference once we swap out the SSD with it. While this is booting, I can show you guys. I have the Crucial MX 500 gigabyte. That's what we're gonna be putting in it. And as you can see, I mean, this is just ridiculous. I'm just gonna let it ride, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, we finally got past the HP part. Now let's see how long we can take to boot into Windows here. Alright, we finally just got to Windows. That was a ridiculous amount of time. So we're gonna go ahead and shut it down again so that we can start the upgrade. Alright, it says it's shut down, but the power light is still on. So we're gonna wait until it's truly shut down before we break into this thing. We're not gonna wanna be opening this while it's still powered on. So this is, as you can tell, this is in desperate need of an upgrade. All right, there we go. Lights off. Now we're gonna go ahead and break into this thing and see what we can do. Now this is pretty standard with most laptops. In terms of, we'll just go ahead and open up this side real quick. So we actually are not even going to be using this slot at all, but this is just so that you guys can see. We can just slide this out once we've unscrewed that screw. There we go. And this is actually the Wi-Fi card here. So if we were having any issues with the internet or anything, we could go ahead and easily replace that card, but the internet works fine. The only issue is exactly how slow it is. So we're gonna go ahead and put this right back on. There we go, got some pops in there. All right, that's back on, and we're actually gonna be opening this slot today. So this is just a simple screw here. I'm just unscrewing that, and then this is just gonna slide and easily release. That's super easy. And while I was researching upgradable parts for this laptop specifically, a lot of people were referencing it only having one 8 gigabyte stick of RAM. But as you can tell, my model somehow, I didn't really even know this when I purchased it, but somehow I ended up with 2 sticks of 8 gigabyte RAM for a total of 16 gigabytes. Now it doesn't run fast. I think it's only like 2100 megahertz or something like that. Like it's not quick RAM by any sense. I might actually say it on here. Let's see. We have 8 gigabyte, 2 times 8. Yeah, I'm not seeing that on here, but I'll read out the number after I open it up. I'll add that later. All right, so basically this is the hard drive here. This is what we're going to be replacing today. All we have is 4 simple screws here holding it into place. So we're just going to go ahead and start removing these. And it's helpful if you have a little screwdriver like this that helps with these little screws that we're taking out. So I already took out that first one. We're just going to go ahead and take out these other ones now as well. And these ones are down here in the corner. They can be kind of tough to get to. So you'll see in a second after I unscrew them, I actually brought a little pair of pliers here with me. I'm just gonna reach down in here and snag those boys out of there once I get them, because my fingers will not fit in that tiny little slot. So I got 3 screws out, and this will be the 4th one. I'm gonna do the same little plier tactic. And now this actually includes instructions on here for what to do. So step 1, it says remove the screws. So we already removed the screws. So step 1 is good. That was the 4 screws we removed. Step 2 is showing this tab, and we're actually just gonna pull it like this. So I'm gonna set it down. Just go pull it like this, and then you can see it disconnected, the drive there disconnected. And then the 3rd step is simply to pick it up and lift it out of the enclosure. So this is a 1 terabyte hard disk drive that was in here originally. And this little casing is actually really nice here. So we can just take these 4 screws off as well. So we got one right here. Didn't get it all the way. There we go. That's 1. Second one right here. Then 2 on this side as well. There we go. And then literally all we're gonna do is just separate the hard disk drive from that cover that was holding it in. Now you do want to be careful. I think ideally you don't want to be touching these gold pins, but that just lifts up and removes extremely easy. So here it is. This is our hard disk drive. We're gonna just go ahead and set that to the side, and then we're gonna grab, and the weight difference between these two is incredible. I mean, it's just so cool. Solid state drives versus the old obsolete spinny boys. So we're just gonna go ahead and take this, and we want to make sure that when we put this in, it's gonna line up with the slot that's going in. So there's a little bit smaller one here and a little bit bigger one here, a little bit smaller one on this side, a little bit bigger one on this side. So ultimately we're gonna want the drive this way. And so we're just gonna wanna make sure that we line that up properly with this. So when we put it in this way, it's gonna be upside down when we put it in, and that's gonna be the proper orientation. So we got this in. Now we're just gonna go ahead and put these same, we're gonna put these same 4 screws right back in here. There we go, 1. There we go, 2. Now 2 on this side. Good grief. A little bit clumsy. These screws will just run right away on you. These little itty bitty things. There we go, 3. And 4th and last screw. There we go. All right, so we have all of the 4 screws back in. Now we're ready to replace this enclosure and put it back in. So like I said, just make sure your orientation is lined up. Then all we're gonna do is just drop this thing in here. And then we're gonna wanna make sure that it's lined up. And we're just gonna go ahead and push forward. And then you should feel it seated nicely. So now it's in there, it's seated, it's connected well. Now we have these 4 screws to put back in. And these things are even smaller. So let's see if I can't drop any of them while I'm trying to put them back in. There we go. Now I'm just gonna use these pliers to try to put these back in here so that I can at least get them seated right so that they're not squirrely all over the place. And they're still gonna be squirrely all over the place. Ideally, if you had a screwdriver that had a magnetic head, that would be really nice. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those. So I guess you guys are just gonna have to watch me painfully do this. All right, now we have all 4 screws in there. Just want to make sure it's seated in there well. It's not going to move around. If you're using a laptop, then you're probably using it on the go. So you don't want your drive just flying all around while you're got it in your backpack or whatever. All right, so that's good. That's in. Like I said before, we're actually not going to be changing the RAM in this video because I already have 2 sticks of 8 in there, which is the maximum amount for this laptop. But if you only had 1 stick of 8GB RAM in here, then you might want to consider purchasing a second stick of 8GB RAM. And if people decide that that's something that they would want me to do, to just pop these out and show you how to put them back in, that's something I could easily do. So we're just going to put this right back on, and then we're going to screw it in. And then we'll flip it over. And let's see the difference when we power it up now. Hopefully it's a crazy increase, but we'll have to see. Boom. Look at the difference with that. That was much, much quicker. Now, once you put the SSD in, you can't just boot it up right away. That was the actual hard drive switch, but you got to move everything from the first SSD, from your original hard drive onto the SSD. So I'm gonna get a little bit different angle, and I'm gonna take some shots of how to do that. But I've already done that, so that was just the actual hardware component of it. So I'm gonna cut now and switch to the other. All right, so here we have our drive, and in this case, I've already swapped them, but the steps are the same regardless of which drive it is. So we're gonna pretend that this is a new drive, and what you're gonna need to do is go and buy an enclosure. This is the Ugreen 2.5 inch enclosure. It works for both SSDs and HDDs as long as they're 2.5 inch, which this one is. That's the standard one for laptops. Some PCs also are using the 2.5 inch, but there's plenty of these on Amazon. They're like $10, not very expensive. They're all about the same. You can go and read the reviews. I read the reviews. It seemed like the Ugreen one was the best that I saw, but again, they're all very similar. They're all similarly priced, and it's just a 2.5-inch hard drive enclosure. So all you're gonna do is just pop it like that, and it feels like you're gonna break something, but it's really fine. That's just the hard plastic, and this just slides back like that. And then literally all you're gonna do is you're just gonna take your hard disk drive, and you're gonna wanna make sure that these pins are lined up properly with it. So in this case, we're going in this way. And literally all you do is just set it inside the enclosure, and then you're just gonna slide it forward to engage it in those pins. Just make sure it's pushed all the way forward. That should be flush up there, and that's good. And all you're just gonna do is take this back, slide it back on, clip it in, and then this is a USB 3, I think A style or maybe C, I can't remember, but this is just your standard one. And you're just gonna plug this into the enclosure. Then we're gonna plug this into our laptop, and we just wanna make sure that we plug it into a USB 3 port, or it's gonna be USB SS super speed. You'll see that icon next to it. So we'll just wanna make sure we do that for the best read-write speeds. Right, so we have it plugged into our SS port there. And so we're gonna go ahead and just open up Acronis True Image for Crucial. This is just a software that you can download. Since this was a Crucial drive, I just went ahead and went with that. And then you would just click clone disk, and then you would just select which disk is the source disk and which disk is the destination disk. In my case, since I've already cloned that, I'm not going to do that, but there are plenty of videos online that you can see. If you have any issues, just drop a comment or let me know and I can try to help you out. One thing that I did have to do for this cloning specifically, since I was going from a 1 terabyte hard drive to an only 500 megabyte solid state drive, there was just one issue where I had to change the volume size for some unused space to make sure that everything fit well. But typically just doing the automatic one is going to work fine for you. Just leave a comment or shoot me a message if you have any issues. In my case, since I actually already cloned them, then I'm gonna go ahead and use the Acronis drive cleanser. And so you can see I have my 2 drives here. This is what I was talking about. I had to unallocate some space. I ran into some issues when this space wasn't being used before, but once I unallocated it through the disk manager, then it was fine. And like I said, if you guys have issues, I can make a more in-depth video about that. But so this is the SSD that I now have, the MX500. And this was my original one, my WD 1 terabyte hard disk drive. So we're gonna select this one because at this point, since we already cloned the drive to the solid state drive, we have no point to keep all this stuff on here still. So we're just gonna go ahead and wipe it. Then I'll be able to use this drive for something else in the future. I'm getting a new desktop soon, and I can just go ahead and pop it into that thing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, and then I'll catch you guys. Okay guys, well, as you can see, my disk is now getting wiped, so that's all great. So glad to have a laptop back again that's actually working. I hope you guys found this video useful, and if you did, go ahead and leave a like. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye.